Okay, so when we're getting to the point of calibrating our TVs for SDR movies, that will be the first segment of this video. I will put timestamps so that you can roll from SDR, HDR, and the Dolby Vision. Now, it's important to note, we are going to be slapping in the exact same white balance choices for every single type of format that we're going to be viewing, so that's good to know. For example, we are in expert bright space, which is for daytime usage. We're gonna go advanced settings, color, we're gonna go white balance. So here we have warm 50, 2-point method, high point, plus 20, plus 17, plus 33. And then on the low point, we have minus 29, minus 27, minus 21. Then we're gonna go to 22-point signal value. We're gonna go to the lowest level here. This might have a different name depending on if you're in HDR or which region you're in. Just think it like this. It's always going to be the lowest point and then go up one step, one step, one step, one step. So it's gonna be always like that. So depending on if it's code value named or signal level, doesn't really matter, okay? So don't care about that too much. There will be some discrepancies in naming, some numbers might not be the same. It doesn't matter, it's gonna be the exact same thing. So 2.5, which is the lowest one for SDR and Dolby Vision. You wanna do minus 10 on blue, you wanna go up one click on the signal level or code value, minus 10 on blue, minus 5 on green, you wanna go up one more step and you wanna do minus 10, minus 8, you wanna go up one more step again, you wanna do minus 12, minus 10, and you wanna go up one more step. This is the last one, you want to do minus 10, minus 12 again. So now we're done with white balance. That white balance will be set for Dolby Vision, HDR10 and SDR. So don't care about it too much, just think, okay, we won't be talking about that when we go over to HDR. Why don't we? Well, it's just because those are the settings for all HDR and Dolby Vision and SDR. So don't care about it too much, just know it's for everything. So if we don't talk about white balance for HDR later on or Dolby Vision, those are the settings you should copy. Okay, so let's begin with how to calibrate the image to get the best overall impression, in my opinion, from the panel. This is my opinion as well. You might have other preferences with black level, sharpness and colors. That is totally fine, honestly. Just dial in whatever you want then, but you can take my preferences and kind of use that as a set point and then dial from there. That's gonna be the best way to go, I would say. So that has to do with like every single movie being a little bit different with the tonality. So the tone, like the undertone, how do I say this so that everyone at home understand? There might be certain movies that have the mid-tones in the middle of the screen being slightly more lifted than the vignette that's being added on the sides. Well, in that case, if you dial down the black level, you might correct the mid-tone alignment in the middle of the screen, but that might make the vignette a lot darker. So it's gonna have to be a balancing act for you at home. That might be very annoying. So in those cases, ignore the fact that there is vignette there and just try to balance the mid-tone in the middle. That's what I would do. I always try to make the movie look as the artist intended, but I also always remove the black level rays. That is a filter to make it look like a film. To look more like a film. I don't like black level rays or washout whatsoever. I want it to be clean. Some older people around 35 plus years old or so, they might like appreciate the premium feel of a movie, you know, 21:9 aspect ratio, washout, black level rays, and that normal green tint from a natively calibrated panel. I don't preferably like that at all. I think it should look very different. It needs to look natural, needs to look realistic. So my reference is the industry standard, but then I take it a bit further and I try to make it look like as close to real life as possible. So that means dialing down colors, manipulating the black level, and abusing the AI upscaling on the TV, the AI upscaling, to make the panel make older content look a little bit sharper. This might also be something that most of you at home don't prefer or like at all, depending on your age or your thinking methodology for watching movies. You might not like fake AI upscaling, which is also totally fine. So yes, we are going to be first in SDR, and we're gonna be just turning on any movie on Netflix that is in SDR. You will know if it's in SDR if you go into the picture presets and you go all the way down here below filmmaker mode, they will be hiding there. You'll be seeing expert on these two, bright and dark space. Then you are in SDR, so great. Now, we're using the TV apps, so we're not using the PlayStation or an Xbox or a PC. TV apps is the preferred way, in my opinion, to do this. So we are in a TV app, we're in Netflix, we're in the bright space mode. We're gonna go to the side, we're gonna go to General tab, we're gonna go to AI service, and this is for the people that want to use AI to upscale the image. If you use AI Picture Pro, you will darken some of the midtones and bring out some of the details and use AI upscaling. I don't like how that looks, so we use AI genre selection to boost back and neutralize what they did with the midtones. If you look at this, you can see how it kind of ruins the midtones, and then this brings it back up, but it preserves the AI upscaling. So that's great. Does this boost colors in a premature way? Maybe in some cases. I haven't noticed any time whatsoever where it kind of messed with the image anyways, so it shouldn't be a problem. This is what I recommend. I wouldn't change the one in the middle here. It will over brighten certain elements. And in this case, I don't even see anything on this slide, so it doesn't really matter in this case. That's what I recommend. Now, we're gonna go back into the picture mode. We're gonna go advanced settings. And remember, we are in the bright space daytime mode. So this will be if you're in a bright room or if you're just overall enjoying your TV. It could be games, it could be movies in SDR, doesn't really matter. You're just having fun with your TV and it's daytime and it's bright all around. You're gonna go into advanced settings, brightness, and the OLED pixel brightness I recommend doesn't really matter which OLED panel you have. I always recommend OLED pixel brightness on an LG OLED, and SDR for bright space 45. Contrast, I have this on 100. The 100% accurate would be to have it on 85. I like a little bit extra pop to the image. So if you want to go 100% accurate, go 85. But then you would probably want to up the OLED pixel brightness. I have this on 100. Black level is very interesting. So if you're gonna be watching a movie and you have some black level rays or a washout in the middle parts of the image, not like this one. Movie is called The Passenger or whatever. It doesn't have any issues with black level rays at all. So in this case, black level 50 and gamma BT 1886 is perfect. But if you're playing a movie and you're watching it and you're like, it looks a little bit washed out, I'm not really getting that OLED individual pop effect. Even though I am in SDR, I still think it's not really there. Well, something that you want to keep in mind is auto dynamic contrast needs to be off, peak brightness needs to be on high, BT 1886 needs to be on. If you try to track after 2.2 and you see that it becomes, you can see a little bit more in the dark, but it looks a little bit more washed out. Almost like you're using 1.9, right? One problem you might have is that the image is washing out, and that's because it's not tracking the image correctly. You're using a gamma that isn't supposed to be there. The industry standard is not 2.2 for movies, it's BT 1886 when it's SDR. Keep that in mind as you calibrate. BT 1886 is correct. You can use these, but they will mess with colors, they will mess with near black, and they will also raise the midtones, making everything look a little bit more washed out. And you will lose some of that depth effect. So, awesome. Now, we know that black level can be an issue in some movies, and in that case, I would always recommend dialing this down. The lowest what I would recommend when in SDR is 38. After going below 38, you will start to notice the pad will becoming dimmer. Yes, you can then just up the OLED pixel brightness in that case, but if you're going to be watching a lot of dark movies and you always notice that you have a lot of black level rays, instead of having to change it all of the time, you can have like a middle ground like 43 or 45. Most of the time though, I prefer 38. I think it makes all movies look very cohesive, but the black level detail will be a lot darker. In some cases it might even be crushed very ever so slightly. I will be playing in 50 in this video, but just know this is up to you to dial in on a preferable level depending on the movie and the content you're watching. So now motion eye care, I have that on for my eyes. Colors, we want to do 43 on color depth for bright space, color gamut auto detect, and we are not going to be touching fine tune. We need it to be off. So that's basically it for this mode. We're going to have a plus 15 on sharpness or a 15 super resolution on high. This is also very preferable. You can decide to not use this if you want to. It will just make the textures pop a little bit more on your skin tones there. skin textures. I don't recommend using any noise reduction for SDR or HDR movies. However, this will be talked about later on in the video when we're talking about anime. It can be really nice to be used with a lot more upscaling. So no benefits from this will be taken when watching SDR, in my opinion. Now this is a pretty crazy one. If you want the image to look like it's not juddering like crazy and you have a lot of problems with that, you can either use cinematic movement or natural. That can help you a lot to kind of remove the OLED judder caused by the panel being a sample and hold display. So this is normal. A lot of OLEDs have this, but specifically LG OLEDs have this a lot. You can use natural or cinematic movement if you want it to be more like it is on cinema. But let's say you want even more smoothness. You would prefer it to be more like, you know, when you're playing a game and it's 60 FPS or it's 120 FPS, which this panel can do, you can use motion interpolation, de-judder 10, which is the most strong one, and then de-blur 10. Then you have one hidden one here, OLED motion. This will enable black frame insertion. It will make the screen flicker. This can cause a lot of eye fatigue, and it does sidestep these two. So if you enable OLED motion, which enables black frame insertion, essentially adding a black frame in between every frame to a certain extent anyway, so the 50% ratio, whatever it is, at a certain frequency, that will ruin brightness, highlight detail, and just overall break the panel peak in a lot of ways and just make it a lot more dull looking, and it will make the panel a lot bluer as well. So I don't recommend using that at all. If you use it, it will disable the motion interpolation completely. So motion interpolation is now off if we enable this, and that will be like we're having it on off essentially, but it's still flickering. Do not recommend this for 24 FPS content whatsoever. All movies are in 24 FPS if watching on streaming apps. That's good to know. So yes, I recommend 1010 if you want a lot of smoothness. I think it looks really good on an OLED. I know a lot of people don't though. So key this in as you want. I would not change these values. Either do 1010 or use any of the presets. Don't do like 5 and 10 and 7 and 10 and blah blah, don't mismatch. Don't do that. It's gonna just align the picture weirdly with the motion. That's not recommended at all. Either do 1010, which is gonna be very immense, which is what I like, personal preference, or you will be using cinematic movement or natural to make it look a lot easier on the eyes if you think it's too much. I think cinematic movement and natural will make it look more like 48 FPS or so. And smooth movement will make it look like 55 FPS, very close to 60. User selection will make it look like 120 FPS, which is very smooth. So that's what I prefer. Now, that is SDR for bright space. We're gonna go over to the dark space mode, and it's gonna be a lot darker and dimmer. Now, inside of this mode, I will recommend you use these settings. Brightness, 30, 85, 38, no peak brightness in this case, BT 1886, motion eye carries on, colors 40, auto detect. We are not supposed to have any fine tune, and we are using the exact same calibration as before. Don't care about what I have here because I'm playing around with it right now, so the exact same as for SDR, no difference whatsoever. Clarity, I'm using 15, high, and then off. And then I have motion interpolation on the max as well. So it's essentially the same thing. I do recommend you enable reduced blue light if you're in a dark room as well. If it's at nighttime, it will help you with your eyes a lot more, especially if you have dry eye syndrome or whatnot, it can help a lot. But this is for dark space, right? So that is SDR. Now we're gonna move over to HDR, and it's gonna be a little bit harder to calibrate for this. So keep in mind, it's not gonna be the same. Well, see you there. Here we are, we're now in HDR 10. So how should this look to make it look as good as possible? We want it to look like when we're gaming, but it's a movie. So we don't want any discrepancies in mid-tone luminance. We want everything to look cohesive, clear, and awesome. So it's gonna be harder to calibrate HDR actually. So it's gonna be a lot more of a headache if you want it to be 100% perfect and clear. Just tracking what is raw and what is already there is not necessarily the best way to use your OLED panel. There are ways to get more out of the experience. I would say if you want it to look 100% just a raw signal, just use filmmaker mode and don't touch anything. But know that you bought these LG OLEDs for a lot of money. You should really be using some of its benefits to get more out of the experience. They are in the industry standard. We are not using the reference of trying to get exactly what should be there, because the reference in this case for movies in HDR will always be a little bit dulled down, just because most people don't have really good HDR panels. So HDR brightness in the movie might only be tracking to 300 nits when you are having a 1000 nit panel. So to really get that extra peak luminous pop, you would need to use peak brightness, you would have to manipulate the image. That's what we're gonna do in this video. So now, I am in vivid mode of all things. And now most people will say, oh my God, man, vivid mode, what the hell? Already I know this guy is talking out of his ass. He doesn't know anything. Stay with me. Stay with me. You're gonna go into vivid mode, and the first thing that we have to do, we have to make sure, as with SDR, that we are using the AI. So boom, boom, just like before. We're now gonna go back into HDR. We're gonna go back into vivid mode, brightness, 100, 100. 45 is something that I think looks great across the board. Sometimes I still dial this down. If you have this too high, the black level detail might become just so raised in many HDR movies, honestly. It's much more of a problem in HDR than in SDR. So in this case, having 45, I think fixes most of the issues. There is a little bit of a gradient separation here from Batman's head. For the background, there is black level raise. And now when you go down to 45, it's basically gone. It is still there, but it's very hard to see. Most people might think that it's too dark and that it's crushing. It's not crushing, it's just you not being used to that much black level detail, being so dark and so dim, because it's like literally 0.1 nits, and it's going to be hard to distinguish the details. You would probably have to sit in a dark room, then you would be blinded by the black level menu here. You know, eyes can be deceiving. I recommend 45. You can always go further down, but just know for most movies in HDR, 45 is enough. But it's up to you. Off, and then we're gonna go in here, and now we have some fun stuff we're gonna talk about. You can use dynamic tone mapping if you really want to. I don't recommend that though. I recommend you get what is already there and you don't use anything more. We want to track the OTF 100%. So, boom, we turn it off so that only the stuff that has HDR information is now being shown. It's just like HDRG essentially. Now we want to enable the professional mode 100, 100, 100 so that the peak mastering luminance of EOTF tracking is tracking 100% as it should using the HDRG metric. But this is HDRG 1000 mastering, HDRG 4000 mastering, 10,000 mastering HDRG. That's exactly, that's essentially, how you can think about this. It's not really what it's doing, but I don't know how to explain this in English, honestly. It's not as crazy as it might feel or sound. So now, what if you're on an older LG OLED and you can't use the professional mode? Well, in that case, I don't know actually. What would I do if I was in HDR and I did not have I don't know actually. If you are on an OLED panel that is older than a C4 and you don't have the professional mode, maybe I do recommend just using dynamic tone mapping. But I would still advise you try to use it off, even though you don't have the professional mapping. The thing is, if you're not using any dynamic tone mapping, what is already there should be the thing that you see, but it is possible that if you disable dynamic tone mapping and you're not using the professional mode, you are just EOTF tracking to 250 nits all the time. That won't make you lose detail, but it might make it look very SDR-ish. So kind of see what your balancing point would be. I would probably just use dynamic tone mapping and then dial down black level so that the black level is not raised. That's probably what I would do if I was in your case. But for everyone else, we're going to use the professional mode. Expression enhancer off and the eye care on. The rest of the stuff we cannot even change. Color 49, we are not going to use Adobe RGB. We're going to use auto detect. Fine tune off. and we are using the exact same calibration as I was talking about before. Again, don't care about this. This is completely unrelated to the video. We are still using the exact same white balance for HDR. Clarity 37 is what I recommend when using HDR movies, but it kind of depends. Are you watching a movie in 4K, or is it 1080p, or is it 480p, is it HD, what is it, right? Like, it kind of depends. So adjust this as you see fit, depending on the content. The same with super resolution. I always have this on high. Personal preference though. We're not going to use any motion, what's it called? Noise reduction. No smooth gradation or noise reduction still. I just think it dulls down and just ruins details. Motion interpolation is still on. So this is for HDR. Now let's go over to the mode that everyone is waiting for. Dolby Vision HDR. Here we go, guys. Dolby Vision HDR. So this is the do-over. Adam Sandler made this movie. Absolutely awesome movie. This is what we're going to be using just to be able to access the HDR Dolby Vision on the panel. So you want to go in and you want to use vivid mode as before. You want to go brightness 70, 100, 45, off. Motion eye care on. 45 on color, tint on 0. We are not gonna use any fine tune, and white balance will be the same as all of the other ones. This is actually tracked to be the same, but except for the white balance there. So weird that it just keeps on changing. Somebody has been fiddling around. Okay, so now when you're watching movies in Dolby Vision, why do I have color on 45? I just think honestly, it just looks a little bit cleaner in the overall mid-tone resolve. I think Dolby Vision is pushing colors a little bit too much in some cases. Some cases it's a little desaturated. So do what you want with the color for Dolby Vision. If you think that you want it to look even cleaner, no, wait, no, shit. 45, wait. Give me a second, guys. I think I just realized that yes, okay. Yeah, you need to use fine-tune for Dolby Vision HDR. Sorry, guys. Okay, we are gonna use user selection. I completely forgot about this. We have some blue issues on Dolby Vision when watching on these TVs. So, user selection, blue, -5 on saturation, +5 on luminance. And then you're gonna go to yellow. We haven't changed anything on yellow. Which color was it? Was it green? No? Okay, so it's only blue. I must have thought about gaming. So what this will do, his shirt has a little bit too much blue in it. It should have a little bit of blue, but it's overcast weather. The TV will mistrack blue and overtrack it a little bit, so that will bleed into the white of his shirt. It should be a little bit of blue there, but not so much. So with this corrected setting, it should now be more white. I don't think it's gonna be that noticeable though for you or for the video recording, but it's good to know. So color 45, you can change the color as you see fit. Just don't go above 49, because then you're gonna get even more boost of blue, which you don't want. So warm 50, we're doing the same settings here. As I said before, if it's SDR or Dolby Vision, it's gonna be called signal level, and the highest one you're gonna go to is +15. So you're gonna go down to the lowest one, go up all the way to 15, and when you're in HDR, it's gonna be called the code value, and the code values are gonna be very different depending on which model you're using or where you are in the region. So that's why I didn't show it. It's just gonna be very confusing. So yeah, those are the settings to dial it in to make your movies look as good as possible. Now let's move over to anime. So for anime in SDR, we want to pick another mode than the modes that we have calibrated for more serious movies that aren't anime related. So I picked cinema. We go into general, we make sure that AI service is on. AI Picture Pro, AI genre selection. Nice. Now we're upscaling the image. We're not like ruining the black level or the midtones. At least not from the AI Picture Pro standpoint. Now I'm gonna turn off the light in the room, so you won't be able to see me as easy. You'll still be able to see me, but you know what I mean. So we're gonna go into brightness here, and and we're gonna use BT 1886, high peak brightness, off on dynamic contrast, and we're gonna look for the image and overall the midtones. How washed out are the midtones? We're gonna have to dial this down until it becomes very inky black. So if I look very close, I should see some black double raised film grain. And when that film grain kind of goes away, that tells me that the black level is now correct. It might be very hard to see if it is correct over here. But that looks very nice to me. I just gotta make sure that we're not talking out of our ass here. Yeah, okay. So the perfect value for Spirited Away is 23 with the black level. It will be basically the same for all other anime movies as well. So BT 2020, black level 23, and we've maxed out the brightness. Color, we will do 70. You can go a lot higher if you want to. I think 70 is a good balance. The color gamut is a little bit up to you. I think if you want 100% like reference tracking with the color gamut, you can go auto detect. So we're gonna go that. If you want more though, you can go native, so that it's gonna push more. But it's gonna lose a little bit of the depth effect because it's gonna be a little bit too inky. I'm gonna turn on the lights again. So now, what can you guys think when we do this? Let's just see that we haven't messed with the... We have messed with it. Okay, there we go. I want you guys to be able to see this menu. Fine tune, we aren't going to be touching on fine tune. White balance, we want it to be the exact same as for all the other movies. I haven't changed this because I don't watch any anime currently, so I haven't cared too much about these settings. And then in clarity, so white balance, just so that you're with me here, should be the same for everything across the board. SDR, HDR, gaming, Dolby Vision, SDR Anime, and like everything. Even HDR Anime, Dolby Vision Anime, you get the idea. White balance is like the base layer of the panel. How the colors, how the gray tones look, and how the whites look. That's very important that it's the same across the board. Now, all the other stuff, it's essentially more specific to the source content that we're watching. So white balance is a base layer for everything. All the other stuff is very independent. So now, 20 on sharpest is what I like. You can go higher or you can go lower. Now that we're using AI upscaling, the higher this value is, the more AI upscaling you will get on your panel. The lower it is, the more smooth and less upscaling you will get. Around the 10 is where you won't get any more upscaling. So 10, you get AI upscaling. 9, you have no upscaling. 10, upscaling, no AI upscaling. And you can clearly see it in the image. I can actually, you know what, I will show you. It's a huge difference if you have an LG OLED and you're using upscaling. So let's do this. Okay, look at this. Upscaling, no upscaling. Upscaling, no upscaling. Upscaling, and let's make it more aggressive. Now it starts to look like 4K at 20. So that's what we're gonna use. We're gonna bring this away. Keep in mind also, as I'm saying all of this, you will have some issues with the recording here looking more sharper than it actually is. So we will add like a chromatic, what's it called, contrast lines around stuff that I am not seeing with my eyes, which normal TVs would normally be doing. Super resolution on high, noise reduction on high, high, high. So we want to essentially boost these to remove as much of the posterization and just overall compression issues from it being a streaming service. We want to remove and clean up everything because it needs to look drawn and painted, kind of, you know, you want that look. Motion interpolation, I think this looks amazing for anime. But if you're like a purist, you want it to look like it's animated and not very smooth and realistic, well then go off, or cinematic movement is kind of up to you. I still like to use motion selection here, 1010. But it is good to note for anime, a lot of animes are not running at 24 FPS, they're running at lower FPS than that. And then when it adds kind of fake motion blur in the animes, you can kind of get a lot of garbling with motion interpolation. I still don't care about it though, I still use 1010. But it's good to know that it's not always going to look like it's 120 FPS if you tend to use this much. Sometimes it can garble and look laggy almost even. It's just if you turn it off, it's going to look laggy all the time. So it's like, where's the balance here? Yeah, so there it is. Now we have calibrated everything essentially. Now you might be like, oh, but I hear what you're saying, but what if I wanted to do like dark space mode for watching anime? Well, honestly, that makes it so much harder, man. But it's like, just go into this quick menu here and just do this. Dial this down to around 45. Eye care mode, turn that on, and you're done. You can watch the TV at nighttime. It's going to be totally fine. And then in the morning, if you remember correctly, just grab this. There we go. And then turn eye care off. So there we go. That's the settings to calibrate your TV for movies or configure it for movies. Hope you guys enjoy how this looks. This video has been a long time in the making because I kind of had to realize, like, what is the easiest way to make this happen. I could have made this video out more advanced, but it would have taken around 5 hours to make and record this video. And I can't have that much time put into just one video, because this video could flop. People could not be interested, even though I know, like, I've gotten like 80 requests for this video. It could still flop, you know. And so putting too much time into one video that people aren't even going to watch in the end game, it doesn't really make any big sense, honestly. And my channel isn't big enough yet that I could put 5 hours into one video. It just really doesn't make any sense. I have to be answering a lot of comments and helping a lot of fans and viewers on my Discord privately, in DMs, on PlayStation. I need to talk to people and help them calibrate. So it will take time, and I do a lot of I spend like a lot of time, man, trying to help other people, and just spending 5 hours on one video, that is 5 hours I could have helped a lot of people in the community. That's essentially what I'm saying. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is amazing, and hopefully this will make it a lot easier to kind of iron out how to make the movies look on your panel. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to become a member so that you can watch future videos one day early when they release, which is great, honestly. And you get a monthly badge for becoming a member. It's only 90 cents a month, which is amazing. It's like very cheap. If you're a fan of the channel, make sure to get the membership. Because we're up at 40 members right now, which is amazing, and we are closing in on 6,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. I couldn't have done that without you guys, and without you guys, this community and this channel wouldn't be a thing. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. You guys know that I appreciate it. I make it so obvious. I answer everybody's comments. I try to make it quick, fast pace, and I want to help out everyone. And I think my channel has changed a lot for people when it comes to HDR and OLEDs in general. I know I'm really happy with the settings, and I know everyone else is as well, and I am really thankful to be in this situation. So this is not my job even, this is my hobby. I want to make this for free for everyone. So yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for watching my videos and for taking the time to comment and show your support and love. It's amazing. I hope you guys can now enjoy your TVs when it comes to movies and TV series a lot more. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm really thankful to be in the situation I am in. So thank you guys so much for watching. And make sure to subscribe so that we can reach 10K. That is just essentially, it's not going to help the channel in any major way. It's just going to make the number larger. But it is going to make it easier for people to join in on the channel and get help on the web. Because the more people that join the channel, the more people and the higher reach I can help out on the internet. So that's just going to make a lot more people get help. Because you guys know how good my settings are. But imagine how many people, it must be like around at least 100,000 more people on the internet that could benefit from my settings, and they're for free, and people don't even know that they exist, and they're getting a washed out black level race, mid-tone misalignment, green looking image on their LG OLED, and they could have this uncanny valley cool 3D depth effect with their OLED panel, and it's all for free. Like, I'm not taking any payments or anything. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.